Okay, so what are some thoughts that I have after playing 150 hours of Kingdom Come? First, I liked the first game of Kingdom Come. Kingdom Come 1, I really liked it. But I believe that the first game actually at times had a pacing problem. Sometimes there would be really cool things and interesting things happening, and other times it was kind of like slow and dragged a bit. And I've heard before playing Kingdom Come 2 that Kingdom Come 2 was going to be even longer than Kingdom Come 1. So I was actually worried that Kingdom Come 2 would have a pacing problem as well. But I was actually very surprised. Kingdom Come 2 is a much longer game than Kingdom Come 1. And I find that the pacing on Kingdom Come 2 to be a lot better. The quests, the side quests, and the main quests, they have a lot more depth in the second game. Sometimes in the first game of Kingdom Come, it felt like a quest could have a little bit more of a continuation. And in Kingdom Come 2, the quests, they feel like they have a good wrap up and everything else, like better than the first game. Overall, I think that Kingdom Come 2 is better than Kingdom Come 1 in every single aspect of the game. They improved upon their work in every single way possible. Not only in the narrative, not only like in the way that they manage the side quests, the combat also, even though there's a few things that I believe that Kingdom Come 2 could have done even better, but I'll get to those in a bit. My favorite thing about Kingdom Come is that it's not like any other game. It's its own thing, you know? I love that it has a lot of RPG elements. Even though you can't really create your character, you play as Henry. My Henry is different than somebody else's Henry. And, you know, my Henry, he honestly has a good heart, but at the same time, he's a criminal. If I go to my player statistics, I have committed a little bit of crime. I have stolen a little bit of money. With this in mind, you know, the game gives you enough freedom that you're Henry, even though it's the same character for everybody. You can be a different type of Henry, make your own unique type of Henry. You can be a knight, you can be a thief, you can be a crazy person, you can just go around killing people and all that. I personally stopped stealing stuff. I could easily have like a lot more than that stolen. I had to stop stealing for a bit because NPCs just couldn't buy my shit. Like, in Kuttenberg, there is a trade route you can do that you can get a lot of money. But even then, I have like right now 22,000 gold. I just don't need more than that. So I literally I stole so much that I stopped having to steal. And I have been like very, very generous with me giving money to NPCs, you know? Like there was this NPC that he was being bullied, and the bully hurt his dog, and I gave him 3,000 gold so he would teach me things I didn't need to be taught, but just because I wanted him to be okay. I find that the voice acting in this game to be one of the most well done voice acting in a game ever. There is a lot of people who might misunderstand how the voice acting in this game works, but basically there is people from a lot of different places. At this time, Czech and Prague, those cities were kind of like, and country, they were a big deal in Europe at the time. And there were lots of people from a lot of different places, merchants, travelers, and all this, people who spoke different languages. And this game is the only game that I have ever seen that people who speak a different language and they are new to a region, sometimes they mix their native language with the English. Sometimes when they don't mix, they speak a little bit more paused because they have to think a little bit harder on the words that they have to say. And there was one NPC, he sounded like a little bit, some people say robotic, but as somebody who have the experience of talking with somebody who is trying to like make sure they're speaking a language that's not their main language right, they were doing exactly that. And they say like every word absolutely correctly. And they didn't, use their native language on that. So I find that those little details of like the depth of the dialogue, the depth of cultural influences in the dialogue, and not only on how the NPCs say the words, mix their own language in it, but also sometimes the way that those NPCs view the world, and those NPCs share their piece of the world and their opinion on the world around you is a little bit different depending on the region that certain NPCs come. And I have never seen a game to put this much depth and effort into voice acting and making it like actual realistic way and realistic people like this. With this in mind, the one thing that I would criticize is that sometimes the dialogue feels a little bit wordy. Sometimes the NPCs, it's not that they are not saying interesting things, but they have sometimes the tendency to repeat themselves a little bit. So they will tell you something and they will tell you something in a different way, and they might tell you the same thing but with different words. I feel like sometimes it's, again, I'm nitpicking here. It's just a small thing. On the entire complexity of the dialogue and how this game has been written, I personally think that the dialogue of this game, the voice acting and everything is one of its biggest strengths. This is the only thing that I would say. Sometimes things could have been said with less words. The gameplay is also something that I really like in this game, mostly because it sets this game apart. I find that a lot of games nowadays, they are made in the same engine. They're more or less kind of like very similar when it comes to gameplay. You can attack, you can block, you can parry, you can dodge, and you basically execute those things, controlling things more or less the same way. So this game does something different, and I really like that. It's not perfect, but I really like that it has its own system of combat that's not just a copy-paste from what most other games have. So you have like the different directions you can aim your attack, you can do combos, you can do... The gameplay on this game has a lot of depth, and there's a lot that you can do with it. However, I would say that the biggest downside of the gameplay of this game is that the ceilings are not adjusted right. Like, if you don't pay attention to the basics of combat, and if you don't know the very basics, you're going to get destroyed. But then, if you understand the basics well, and then the moment that you learn Master Strike and you can execute Master Strike well, you're never going to lose again. Then it becomes too easy. So I find that the ceilings of this game, they could be better adjusted, and I'm not sure how they would do this. But again, I still really enjoy the combat of the game, and I have fun with it quite a lot. I mostly use the sword to play because, again, I love Master Strike. Maybe I should have used the other weapons so I could, talk in more depth about this. But as somebody who loves using the sword, if I Master Strike, there is just no way. I can also feint attacks and things like that. Usually, because of I enjoy the combat in this game, I spent a lot of time with it, so I can do most things that the combat can do. So the chances that I will be losing a fight in this game are basically zero. So in general, I would say that for the last 150 hours that I have played Kingdom Come, I would say that this has been one of the best RPGs I've played. To the point that I have freedom, even though I don't have the freedom to create my own character, I have the freedom to create my own Henry the way I want. And seeing Henry become a better version of himself since the first game to now, honestly has been really rewarding. He started as an absolute idiot that couldn't even read, and now he's a quite decent lad, and he has a, silver tongue at times, and he's really funny. And seeing this Henry grow up has been very rewarding to me. Even though every player can kind of have their Henry their own way. I would need to play the game more times and to more depth to learn more moments like this. But I was doing a quest, for example, that a lady, she wanted her to be with a guy, but the guy, he was kind of like hot and cold about it. He would say yes, but then he would change his mind. And I tried to convince him to be with her because she was having a very hard time. And I convinced him, but he didn't sound convinced, even though I passed the check. So I decided to knock him out, and then the guards started, fighting with me, but I managed to sneak him out from the guards, and I took him all the way to the lady. And when I dropped his body in front of her and I started talking to the NPCs, there was actually a unique cutscene that played that he literally just ran away. He literally ran away in the face of commitment. So even though like the main story of this game, it seems to be to give the player a little bit less, let's say, freedom as Baldur's Gate did, this game gives you a lot of freedom, and sometimes I would say in the same depth as Baldur's Gate gives when it comes to how you do things. There is multiple ways to find solutions to different quests. Some that will probably only be aware maybe a few years from now, who knows. Depends on how much they put it in. This is one particular that I happen to come across. So when it comes to RPG features, this is one of the best RPGs I've seen. That gives you a lot of room to play around and do as much with the world as you want. You can basically almost kill everybody. You can basically almost rob from everybody. You can create chaos. You can be a knightly gentleman. You can play Henry however you want, and I really like that. There is definitely more interactions that I think people will slowly figure out about the game. I think my favorite thing about this game is the side quests. And I'm not saying that the main story is bad. It's really good. But this is the kind of game that I just don't want to end. And last time I played Kingdom Come, I even started tearing up because I feel like I'm close to the end. And I feel like you know when it's a good RPG when you dread that the end is coming. And this is one of these games, at least for me. And I have dreaded the end of The Witcher, I have dreaded the end of Baldur's Gate, and here I am again. I would say that as of right now, Kingdom Come is my game of the year. I would say that. Of course, I still, don't know what's coming in the year and all this, but this game feels really special. So it's gonna take quite a bit, I feel like, to take this crown. We'll see. We'll see what's in store. But as of right now, I feel like it is. Those are just some thoughts on my experience so far. I hope if you give Kingdom Come a try, that you also enjoy it as much as I did. And if you like the video, it would help me out a lot if you hit the like button and the subscribe button and all that. Thank you.